Good.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'll call the February 7th Water, Sewer, and Engineering Committee meeting to order. And Kathy, can you call the roll?
Sure. We have Supervisor Puccioni, Joe Dresser, Linda Clark, Laura Robertson, Michelle Martinelli, Aaron Cassidy Dorian, Chairperson Moskowitz, Beth Greenwood, Elena Finnan, Matt Yetto, and Seth Goldstein.
Did you say Laura?
Yes.
Yes, she is.
All right, thanks, Kathy. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those minutes are approved, and we'll move into attorney's items. Town Attorney Elena Finnan.
So these have been on the agenda. I haven't heard back from any of the residents, so I don't know where they stand with it. I don't know if you want to keep them on or
I think
take them off for now, and if we hear back, we can add it back to the agenda.
I can do that. I think Nick had mentioned that they had expressed interest in make early stages of a permit to do the work, but they never went and did what they need to do for the user agreement. So I can pull them off for now. And I'll
Let them.
yeah, they've been on there for like
Come back,
three months. So I have one other one that came up yesterday after this was on the website. Just a shed easement agreement for 203 Campbell Court. A shed in the drainage easement. Nick has already talked to Ray about it and he's okay with it. But I'll give you the information. Moving into the water and sewer maintenance crew. We have our chemical quotes. This is for the water and sewer maintenance for the water plant and the sewer plant. It's an annual resolution that we do. We've gotten quotes from various vendors. I'll have that information for the next board for the board meeting. Finally heard back from the dealer for the utility trucks. We budgeted for them for this year. We have 3 on for the crew. This is off the Onondaga County bid. They're roughly about $70,000 a piece. We do have the money budgeted for it. So I'll provide that to Elena for this month. Fillmore pump station. We need to replace one of the pumps. We've got multiple quotes and the low quote is just under $11,000. Requires a town board resolution. Currently interviewing for maintenance workers. Gotten about a dozen interviews done so far. We've had over 40 applicants, so we're weeding through the applications and we're going to keep interviewing. Now we have 66.
Wow.
Yeah, but so it's been very beneficial to go using the online through the Gazette.
Yeah.
And
That's
So-
fabulous.
we have 4 positions currently open, so we have quite a bit to interview for. So I get applicants that I want to bring to the board, I'll have them. So if I have 1 or 2 or even 4 for the end of this month, we'll have them this month. If not, we'll just keep filling the positions as we get good applicants. Utility billing, the third quarter corporate reconciliation for 2023. We have the numbers. I'm going to go over them one last time to make sure everything looks good. And we should have it on the meeting for approval. Utility billing software renewal, the amount that we now have to pay annually for the maintenance has exceeded the threshold that we can't do without a town board resolution. It's been creeping up year after year, so it's just under $11,000. That's for software that we use to send out water bills and sewer bills. For the treatment plant, update on the organic waste program. Dan and I and Keith Murray visited the Oneida County sewer treatment plant last 2 weeks ago and met with their operators and their engineers and discussed how they are handling way being brought in from a hood plant and some other locations as well. And we learned a lot, and we're looking forward to accepting away at our plant too from Chobani. We're in the final stages of getting the DEC approval for it, and met with the company that wants to bring it in, and they're very eager to come in. And it's, from the sounds of it, it's a much easier product to handle than the fats, oil, and grease. So if we can bring primarily whey in, and then only use just enough grease that we need to balance our digesters, it would be a better operation for the plant, produce more gas and less solids. So it's a win-win.
What's the timeline on that, Matt? You know, when we would expect DEC approval for?
We're hoping within a month. It's just, they're doing the final modeling that necessary with our consultant engineer to submit that to DEC. They've requested modeling data, and we have provided all the information to Martin Judas, and they're finishing that up now. We asked Oneida County when we went to go visit what they had to do with DEC to bring in the waste. They did nothing extra with their permit. Their permit didn't require, we have the same permit as well. As long as they don't violate what's leaving the plant, then it's approved without any issue. And fortunately, with our region, we seem to have a little bit more scrutiny on the operation within Schenectady County, at least. So we'll provide the information that DEC needs, just so that we can get this to go through as quickly as possible. We have an organic waste contract tentative with Blue Diamond Septic, which would be another source for fogs or fats, oil, and greases from the local area. And we did start receiving the fog from CNF locally. They came in, I think it was 2 days ago, Dan, and they brought 2 loads in. And so they have some flexibility now with the different waste streams that we bring in. Yeah, so absolutely. And so, and if we do get that contract, then we've done it, we'll have to be a resident for that as well. Chemical quotes, as I mentioned that up above, is just, it applies to both the water plant and the sewer plant as well. And we have budgeted for a pickup truck to, for the sewer plant off that same Onondaga County bid, and it was budgeted. And that's going to be around $60,000 for that as well. All these trucks are replacing trucks that are more than 10 years old and well beyond their useful life. The maintenance costs are really becoming to get up there on the trucks, and also the reliability has gotten to be an issue as well. We got as much as we could get out of the trucks that we were replacing.
What happens with the old trucks?
We auction them. Appoint a plant operator at the wastewater plant. Bill Olson, he's a trainee that we have that we hired a couple years ago. He's completed the requirements to get his New York State wastewater treatment operator license. He passed his test, so he can now move up to the operator position that was left unfilled. So I'd like to go ahead with that appointment, and need a resolution. I'll provide the form to comptroller's office so they can do the necessary paperwork. Water plant, the upgrade project, the water plant went back online yesterday. So we started producing water. So we're no longer purchasing water directly from the city solely. It took longer than we expected to be offline, but we ran into supply chain issues. One major component, which was due in, I believe, in August, was delivered 2 weeks ago. And that was the last critical piece of equipment that we needed to go back online. So we did have to buy water from the city of Schenectady for a longer period than we expected. So I already mentioned with that, we're gonna have to do some budget mods to cover that cost. We did save on some electricity costs because we weren't pumping water from our plant. So there is some some money we can move around, and I'll have a final number now that we're back online and we know how much we have to purchase. We did have a $13,000 change order on the electrical contract to finish out the project. I sent an email around to the board and supervisor approved it as well. It was a small portion of the overall project. The project was over $500,000, and $13,000, it was 12,000 and change. I didn't think it was unreasonable to approve that. So they were able to get the wiring completed and go back online. We're all set with that as well. Transfer station, there was a request for an analysis of where we stand with revenue versus expenses, and the number of permits that we sell annually. So I think I'll get data from the comptroller's office and the clerk's office as well. They were very helpful, and Kathy helped put it all together with me. And I have some data here showing, I have 8 copies to pass them around. As the number of permits that we've sold over the last 10 years has dropped off significantly. I didn't expect this many people to show up. I apologize. But so back in 2014, we were selling 388 annual permits, and last year we sold 182. We did have some flexibility. As you can see, we added in 2020, we added the credit card reader at the transfer station. So the number of 3-day permits went up because people were buying them there on weekends when town hall wasn't open, and they just wanted to get rid of cleaning out a house in town, and they just wanted to get a 3-day permit. So some of those annual permits may have been taken up by 3-day permits. And then we instituted a 1-day permit back in 21, and you can see that that fluctuates as well. But in the total number of permits are still far down, if you can see from the graph. Second graph there. The green line is the annual permits, and they just trend down. They've been trending down pretty clearly. And then even the 3-day, they're not purchasing nearly as many. It's just, I think it's indicating just a cultural change as well in the way people use the transfer station. Figure out why exactly it's happening, but I think people are less inclined to go out of their way to do. I mean, people have McDonald's ordered delivered to their house now. I mean, it's people buy their groceries online, and they want convenience. And while it's convenient to have a transfer station, people that can just roll your garbage out to the edge of the street and have it picked up, I think that's hard to compete against. And then the costs have gone up. We used to haul the containers in-house using water and sewer staff and equipment, and I don't think that was always really reflected in the numbers. But we started back in, I don't know, about 5 years ago, we started hauling with County Waste, and County Waste held their price for a while. But last year they did a catch up, and they renegotiated and gave us new rates for their hauling, and that even further cut into that added more expenses. So last year we were $13,000 $13,893 in the hole for operations. So we lost $13,000 compared to in the past. You know, in some years we were $23,000 in surplus. But that's also what making changes to save money too. We used to have 3 or 4 people working there. We have one gentleman working there now. Everyone loves him. He's great. But so the personnel costs have gone way down, but everything else has just gone up. Fuel, which is then making the hauling more expensive, and even having, when the police was originally opened, it was very hard to recycle. You had to go somewhere to recycle your cans, your paper, and now it's common to have, curbside pickup of your recyclables. So that was another benefit that you can now get somewhere else. And honestly, another thing that cut into our costs as well, back until about 2018, we were paid for paper. So people would bring paper in, newspapers, and then waste haulers would come and get it, and then they would give us a check. Now, because the paper recycling market has changed, and now they don't take it unless you pay them. So it went from a net positive to a negative. So it's really the whole recycling market has changed, and some of the places that used to sort paper locally, they shut down. They don't even sort it anymore. It's all single stream. Everything gets mixed all together. You're not getting that. The only thing we separate right now is cardboard. Everything else is all mixed together and disposed of. Well, recycled, but at a cost, because now county waste takes it to their transfer station, and then they sort it, and we do get some money from metal. It's metal roll-off container. When that's filled up, they'll take it away and we'll get a check, but you end up paying for the hauling of it anyway, so that cuts into the revenue as well. So unless we make some changes, I don't see the expenses are still going up, but the revenue is really what's going down at a faster rate. And I don't know if we increase the rates even more, that would probably turn more people away, because the cost benefit gets to be leaning more towards just having someone pick up your garbage at your house rather than doing it in-house. And unfortunately, you're only talking about just under 200 users compared to 22,000 people in the town. It's a very small segment of the population. So I don't know if there's anything we can do to increase revenue. Other than that, I think we've done everything we can do to retreat the cost.
Well, there are a few costs, as we talked, that aren't reflected in here. So when the water and sewer guys go there in the winter to plow snow, to clear that's not captured in the costs, but it's a hidden cost, if you will. The costs of the bond, or it was a rolling ban that was just paid off this year for the transfer station bathroom. That's not reflected in this as well. So there's some additional, because it was a long-term piece of infrastructure, we didn't include that. There's some other costs that aren't really captured here, but that are kind of associated with it, loosely at least. The backhoe comes down periodically to crush down the containers, so that the time to drive that over the gas, the wear and tear on the vehicle. Some of those things that also really should probably be accounted for in this one. Our concern too is that we were chatting about this the other day. There are a couple of other places locally that do have transfer stations. And if we can increase our prices anymore, we would be more than they are for people to use. So at that point, it really is, it's just not sustainable. So that's our concern here is, there's right in Clifton Park, there's a transfer station there, and they do allow out of town users. It's a slightly higher fee than their in-town users, but based on what we're seeing now, if somebody buys an annual pass plus punch cards, it's pretty much an equivalent of that out of town user cost. So I don't think that we really can increase the cost of anything up without it just people saying, we're not paying this, we'll go to someplace else. So I don't see that helping.
We
I mean, I think-
allow out of town users?
I don't believe we do.
Is that something where if we entertain that, would that help? Do you expect it helping, or is it just people would be like, we'd rather go to Clifton Park, or spinning our wheels on that one?
Well, I think if you're going to go out of town, there's one in Schenectady already, and
Yeah,
there's one
there's one
in
Latham.
Latham. That's the saying too, that a lot of the smaller incidental costs that the water and sewer is
Kind of carrying.
absorbing right now wasn't as big of a deal when the water and sewer garage was located next door to the transfer station. they used to have their power coming through the power ran through the water and sewer garage. So that was buried in the water and sewer garage bill. The operators would use that bathroom, attendants use the bathroom in the water and sewer garage. So we had to build a bathroom next to it because with that building gone, there was no bathrooms for the operators. But, and then having someone go out and plow while they're plowing the rest all around the building already, the water and sewer garage, it was just another pass. Now they have to drive across town, to come and plow. You know, we don't mind doing it. It's just a cost of not being captured.
Matt, like you and I were talking about last night, I mean, I think if we increase the fees, then we're gonna be in the same ballpark as far as pricing with local haulers. And at that point, is somebody gonna pay to fill their car with garbage and drive to the transfer station? Or if they can pay the same price and just throw it at the curb? I mean, which are they gonna go for? Obviously, they're just gonna throw it at the end of their driveway. Looking at these numbers in the last 6 years, we've gone from a $23,000 surplus to a $14,000 deficit. I mean, I think that's pretty drastic in 6 years. So Matt and I talked yesterday, and I think it's time to have an internal meeting and decide what direction the transfer station is heading in, how long we can sustain that $14,000 deficit, which essentially would be a larger deficit with the costs that the loosely associated costs you were talking about that. So I would be happy to coordinate and get the ball rolling on an internal meeting to sort of see where we're headed with the transfer station and what the long-term outlook for it is.
You said in 2018, there was that switch, or after 2018, there was a switch with the paper, where we had to pay for the paper. And like, if you look at these numbers, that's when the huge decline starts, let's say. Is that like the main reason for that, or is it other things? Like that,
It's a combination, yeah, it's a combination of things too, and then COVID had an impact as well. We tried to, we shut down for a little bit during COVID, but it's open 3 days a week. I don't know if there's any, so you're not gonna save a lot as far as expenses if you reduce the number, because it's still the same volume of garbage is gonna come in, and we're still gonna have to, you would save on mainly on the cost of the personnel.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's a large part of it.
Is there other uses or things that the transportation could offer to maybe bump it up, or is it kind of just like limited to what it's offering now?
It's pretty much what we have. The footprint that we have there, we couldn't do compost or anything like that with the amount of space that we have. And one thing too is we can't charge for the recyclables any longer. We don't have to pay to get rid of them, but we also don't charge. So the cost to take in recyclables is really just, electronic recyclables, is just having someone working there, and he's already there for the other operation. And we can't turn away anybody that wants to come in with recyclables at this point, electronic recyclables.
Is there any way that, I don't think any of the area transfer stations are open on Sundays. Is there any way that we could differentiate ourselves? Right? Think about when people clean out their homes or whatever they're doing it on the weekends. And by the time they're done, it's Sunday and they have to wait till Monday to drop it off wherever. I don't know if that's a possibility, but that's always something that's irritated me. And if that were open, I would absolutely go there.
Something we could look at. I'd have to find out whether or not the operator or the tenant would want to work on a Sunday. It's very difficult to find someone who wants to work around it, because you're basically committing to a full day on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and there's no flexibility. So I can see what his interest level would be, but I don't know. We tend to get a lot of retirees on Fridays and Tuesdays, and then on Saturdays it's when people are cleaning out garages and like that.
Has there been any conversations with like other counties like Schenectady or Clifton Park about maybe a partnership? Like if we were to, if let's say the transfer station had to go away, we send people there and got a discount because we're sending them business. It's like, do you think that's something they would entertain possibly? So we can still offer the service, but it's kind of like, I don't want to use the word outsourced, but like we have to deal with those counties.
Like an intermunicipal share.
Yeah, just like, hey, you want to pay the out of, town rate, if you go to this particular one, and then that way we can say we're offering something, a benefit. I don't know.
Along the same lines of that, Matt and I were talking last night about, reaching out to local haulers and finding out about some sort of agreement or contract or shared services type thing with them. See if it's possible where they can offer our residents some sort of discount.
I don't know what's legal or not.
Yeah,
but-
maybe a dollar lands.
Yeah. You have to do another fee, yeah. You can't just select
Just,
one.
just another thought. I know that all the recyclables from town hall and the other facilities end up going to the transfer station.
Yes,
Is there an associated cost that will, if the transfer station wasn't there, would cost the town at that point?
we'd have to get a dumpster at each of the locations. Parks as well. So
So,
they know when they clean the park bathrooms, that's where they dump the garbage from the park bathrooms, transfer station.
I mean, I can't imagine that the cost of having a dumpster at town facilities would be greater than our $14,000 deficit that we currently see. So I think even if that were the long-term option, it's still gonna be saving money in our budget.
Yeah, and there may be a situation, I don't know exactly how much they generate at the highway and water and sewer, but if they we could share dumpsters, we would still have the maintenance worker that does the cleaning. It's rather than dumping at the transfer station, we just dump at a shared dumpster.
So like I said, I think, I mean, when Matt and I were talking last night, we tossed around quite a few ideas and some thoughts on the future and the path we're taking here. So I think, if everyone's good with it, maybe coordinating an internal meeting, just sort of lay out the options and discuss the ideas Matt and I were tossing around last night and see where we're headed. So I can work to put that together in the next few weeks.
Thank you. That's all I have for the agenda. If there's any other items that anyone wants to bring up?
Anything with the insertion valves,
I haven't had a
just
chance.
the equipment.
Yeah, it's gonna be next month.
Anybody have anything else? All right, I will send out an email in the next couple of days, about a transfer station meeting. And our next meeting here will be on Wednesday, March 6th, 8:30 in the morning in the Chase Room. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Thank you, everyone.